Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review for Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan LeFanu. This book was published in 1882, and holy crap, that rhymes. Hey, I did stuff.
Badoop.
This is a Gothic novella, and they say this is the very first vampire novel ever written. And they also say that Bram Stoker actually got the idea for Dracula from this, just like the heterosexual version. There is no proof. You can take that for whatever you want to take it. That is just a rumor, possibly truth. The story starts out with our main protagonist Laura explaining her past. It's a first-hand account of what happened when she met Carmilla. The book starts out with her explaining that she's wealthy. She comes from a wealthy family. One day, she is out with her father and her governess and her finishing governess, and they are on a walk. And they witness, BAM! A carriage crash, which sounds terrifying, but in my head, it's also kind of cartoony. Hey, if you're enjoying this, maybe you should just give that like button a badoop. They witness a carriage crash, and a girl around Laura's age, her name is Carmilla, gets hurt. And the mother is like, oh no, my daughter can't travel. Where's the nearest town I can drop her at? And father, who we never actually get his name, now that I think about it, says, oh no, woman help, I need help, woman, chivalry. We'll take your daughter in, ma'am. And she's like, I couldn't do that. Yes, you can, you must. So she leaves her with this family who she does not know. And she's like, yeah, I'll be back in 3 months. Thanks, bye. Weird things happen after Carmilla comes into the home. And can't really go into anything else that's not spoilery. So from this point on, the things I say could be spoilery. So if you haven't read the book, you can click away. And if not, don't. The discord in the novel is kind of jump-started when the family receives a letter from a longtime friend, General Spielsdorf, talking about how he wouldn't be coming as soon as he thought he would because the death of his daughter. And the daughter was supposed to be coming to spend quite a while with Laura because she is sheltered and at home and has very little friends and very little outside contact. So she was coming to, hang out for a while and, be 19-year-old girls together. But she dies in very strange circumstances. And in the letter, he says that they invited a stranger in and she died. That being said, the carriage crash happens right after that. And you're thinking about this letter going, didn't you learn anything from what you just read? Apparently not. Carmilla is unlike any other young girl that Laura or any of the other family has ever met. She is strong and self-assured, and she sleeps until like noon or 2. She sleeps all day, and she's very graceful, very beautiful. And Laura finds herself being conflicted on how she feels about Carmilla. Their relationship blossoms into something that you can almost consider a romance. They get very close. And close to the point where there are moments where Carmilla is actually kissing on Laura. And Laura's like, kinda seems a little like, oh, that's kind of weird, but I like it. And all of these actions are kind of all out in the open. No one seems to really bat an eye at it. And for the time, they're just probably like, oh, they're just girls and they're just hanging out and being girls. And it's way more than that. Way more than that. And there's even a point in the book where they're talking about love. And Carmilla says she has never been in love, but if she was to be in love, it would be with Laura, which stole my heart a little bit because it did. Now that I think about it, there's actually a point in the book where these paintings come back from being like refurbished or something, and there's one that looks strikingly like Carmilla. So Laura's like, hey, I'm gonna hang this in my room, okay? And the dad's like, yeah, it is beautiful, and you want to hang it in your room? You should do that. You should do that. That being said, it has been talked about, the way the book was written, is to mean that homosexuality just generally is like a disease, and it's not right. But that could have been the premise behind it as it was written, but reading it in today's society and age, it doesn't have to be perceived that way. So if you perceive it that way, that sucks, because it could have been that way, but you could also look at it differently. Some people have read this and were like, oh, this is bad, but I read it and I was like, oh, cool, I feel seen in 1882. Anyways, so Carmilla is spending a lot of time with Laura, seducing Laura, and basically what she is doing is preparing to feed on Laura. But I also feel that she really cares for Laura, because she spends a good amount of time with her, and she's gentle with her, and just wants to spend time with her, wants to touch her. And vampires in most vampire novels tend to be extremely sexual creatures. They tend to be very physical creatures. It's all about the senses: touch, feel, smell, taste, and that could be part of it. But I also feel like she might actually love Laura. Now we're going to do my pros and cons. We're going to start with cons so we can end on a good note. I did not like the ending. And the book is told from Laura's first-hand account. And the back half of the book is basically her talking about what the men are doing to Carmilla. And this book does not have a happy ending. At all. Carmilla dies, essentially. Not essentially, she dies. The way she dies is just so tragic to me, because I feel like Laura and Carmilla were kind of meant for each other, even if Carmilla is like forever years old, and that would make Laura a child to her. Another con is I just don't like how short it is. There is a lot that was left up to interpretation, and I feel like if he had wanted to, he could have gone into excruciating detail about everything that had gone on in the story. Not to say that this book was well written. It's not well written, but it is a great story. Pros. So my copy is 80 pages, and it's not like large print or anything. It is 80 pages. You could get through this really quickly, and it is such an easy read. I feel like when it comes to a book that you can fly through and get the story without having to think too hard, that's what makes a fun, easy, quick read perfect for me. Another one is the depth of the girls' relationship, because although they know each other for such a short amount of time, they really do fall in love. And it may be a different kind of love and may have different strengths of love depending on the character, but I really do think they fell in love. My last pro is Carmilla as a character. She is written perfectly for a girl that is supposed to be very sickly and delicate, and then she turns out to be strong and fierce and wise, and I love the way she is written. And in turn, she turns Laura into a more adult, less whiny person, because she's very whiny at the beginning, but it's not so whiny that you can't read it. I am going to go ahead and actually link a read for you audiobook version of this. It's read in several different videos by the cast of the web series Carmilla, so that way if you don't really want to go pick it up and buy it, or even try to find one of the random e-copies that are free on the internet, you can listen to it. Also, I will leave a link to the Carmilla web series, because that is the best retelling of Carmilla I have ever seen. If you've read it, let me know down in the comments, and if you're going to read it and come back and tell me. Have a nice day, guys. Bye!